You've caught him in lie after lie. Some of them are so ridiculous, they're not even believable. Some of them are so obvious that makes you question if he thinks that you're stupid simply because they're so ridiculous. Some of them are unnecessary, and you wonder, why does he even bother lying in the first place over some of the smallest things? You stood there, facts in your hand, proof right in front of him, and he still denies it over and over, twisting the story, still making you feel like you're the crazy one for even questioning himself. And you keep asking yourself, why does he lie about things? Why does he lie about things that don't even matter? The small, tiny things. Why does it even matter? Why does he lie when telling the truth would be so much easier? We're going to talk about that today. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor, and I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness about narcissistic abuse. I work with women that are trapped and struggling in relationships, and they're trapped in toxic ones, or they're trying to find healing of how to be able to fit all the pieces of life back together after being with someone that you felt even mentally, emotionally addicted to. So we're going to talk about it today, about the piece of the lying. The lie isn't about just covering something up. It's not about him just hiding from different things. The lie isn't even about what he's lying about. The lie is about control, and the lie is about power. And I know that's what it is because that's what I used to do. You see, lying wasn't just about avoiding consequences, even though that was a big piece of how do I avoid the things that I don't want to be accountable for. It wasn't just about keeping secrets from other people. It wasn't even just about protecting myself. It was also about this piece of while I was doing all of that, I was also seeing my wife unravel. I was watching her question different things about herself, question reality, question whether she was the problem or whether I was the problem. Because when you can get someone to doubt what they know is actually true, you control them. And you control all the different pieces around it. You control the image, you control the story. And that's what I was looking at doing. Yes, I wanted to avoid the consequences. Yes, I wanted to keep the lie, but ultimately I wanted to control what people thought about me, how it looked at me, how my image was about me. It doesn't matter if the truth is actually easier. It doesn't matter if the lie makes no sense at all. What matters is what keeps you off balance and what keeps him in control. What matters is that you keep chasing clarity, keep trying to find honesty, keep chasing the version of him that you thought was real, and that's the game that he's playing with you over and over. It's the trap that keeps you in this endless cycle over and over. And the longer you stay, the more you lose sight of what's actually real. The more you lose sight of even you. I used to lie even when I didn't need to. I would lie about where I was at, who I was with, what I was doing. Not because all the time there was things to hide, oftentimes there were, but because it also gave me power and control over the narrative, how I was constructing and building everything out. Because the second that she questioned me, the second she pushed back, I could twist the situation. I could make her feel like she was the one that was paranoid. I could make her feel like she was the one that was overreacting. And this is what the narcissist is doing in your life. He's making you feel like you're the one that's ruining the relationship, making you feel like you're the one that needs to apologize every single time. He's making you question and second guess even yourself every single time. You're going to shrink just a little bit. You're going to get a little bit smaller and so that he doesn't even have to lie to control you anymore. You start doing the work of the abuser for him because you actually start shrinking to a place that he doesn't even need to control you with lies. He's doing this to you. And you wonder, why does he even lie? Why does he keep denying things that you've already proven, that you've already shown him, that you've already told him? Why he insists you're crazy, dramatic, too sensitive? Because every time you question him, you give him just a little bit more control. Every time you wonder, you make it clear. Did you mishear? Maybe you did. Maybe you misunderstood him. Maybe you are the problem. Maybe it's you. And you hand him just a little bit more power. That's why the lies don't ever stop. It's about the avoidance, it's about running away from responsibility, but it's also about controlling what is true for him. It's not about what's true in reality, it's about who holds the power. And if he holds the power controlling you with the truth, he's going to keep doing this. Think back in your relationship. How many times have you confronted him with something you knew was true and he completely gaslighted you? How many times did he twist it around? Did he shift the blame? Did he turn the focus back onto you? And you're wondering, how did we even get on this conversation? How many times did you leave the conversation feeling like you were the one that was in the wrong? This is what a narcissist does, switches it around. It's not a coincidence, it's actual conditioning, training you of how he's going to work and respond. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what buttons to press. He knows exactly how to keep you questioning your own worth, your own value, questioning yourself. Because as long as you're focused on proving the truth, you won't spend any time actually realizing the bigger picture, the bigger issue of what's actually happening. You're not focused on the fact that he never takes responsibility for his actions. There's no accountability that happens inside the relationship. And any apology, quote unquote, is like ridiculous because it's not actually taking accountability. It's just pushing it back. You're not focused that you're in a relationship where honesty doesn't exist, which I would say that is not a relationship at all. You're too busy untangling the web of lies all around you to try to be able to see that you're already in a trap. And he's watching you do this. He's lying, then you catch him, then he denies it, then you cry, and try to beg him to admit it, and he doesn't. It's not because he can't tell you the truth. It's because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to actually admit what's there. He doesn't want to actually see the truth because the truth would be too difficult. He's like, the truth would reveal shame and guilt that he doesn't want to actually feel. And so he just keeps trying to have you give more and more and more. And the more you doubt yourself, the more he has control over you. The more he manipulates the entire situation. That's why he continues to lie, even when the truth would logically be easier. But because for him, the goal isn't honesty, the goal isn't a connected relationship, the goal is control. And the best way to control you is to make sure that you doubt your own reality and you believe his. You believe what he's selling you, his mindset, his thought process. He doesn't care about how much proof you have. He doesn't care if you have pictures or text. He doesn't care how logical the argument is. He doesn't care about how much pain it caused you to be lied to over and over. Because every time you question yourself, he still wins. Every time you wonder if you're the crazy one, he still wins. He's still moved into an area of power because he's controlling the narrative. He's controlling you. And it becomes this cycle over and over where he lies and you question him. He denies it and you go back and forth to question yourself. And then you apologize, you stay, and then he lies and the cycle starts all over again. It becomes this constant cycle. It becomes easier to just stop confronting him at all. Why bother if it always gets flipped around and back on you? It comes easier just to stay silent, avoid the fights, avoid the gaslighting, and avoid feeling crazy. And that's when he has you. How many of you are in this situation right now where you realize you're avoiding certain things because what's the point? He doesn't even have to lie at this point. Now you're lying to yourself. You're convincing yourself that it's not worth it for you actually being free. That maybe you are overreacting. Maybe it is you having the issue. Maybe things aren't as bad as what they seem. And this is when the biggest lie happens, is you start lying to yourself and he sits back and lets you stay stuck. They've always been this bad. The only reason you can't see it clearly is because he spent so long making sure that you don't trust your own eyes. You don't trust your own reality. It's not about the lie. It's about breaking you down piece by piece by piece. Until you stop fighting, until you stop asking questions or doubting him, until you stop believing your own mind and just believe whatever he tells you to believe. And once you're there and once you've stopped standing up for yourself, standing in your own power, once you've stopped trusting in yourself, once you've got to this place, you've stopped all different types of things, you've stopped expecting honesty from him, he has complete control over you. You've been so broken down so completely that you stay no matter what. So he continues to lie. At this point, not to protect himself, not to cover up something, but to see how much of yourself you're willing to lose just to get that truth. And the part inside of all of this that hurts the most is when you finally get to the place where you catch him, where you see the lie, where you have evidence that's undeniable. You have pictures, you have video, you have text message. He'll look you in the eyes and he'll still lie. And he'll stand there calm, collected, and act like you're the crazy one for even questioning him, for even bringing it up. How could you even talk about this? And you start to feel like you're unraveling because you get to the place where you feel yourself thinking, maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe I should just let it go and stop bringing this up because he's trained you. He's conditioned you to believe that his version of reality is the only one that matters, that your feelings are inconvenient, that they're too much, that your doubts are irrational. That you shouldn't be bringing something up because your memory can't be trusted, so why should you even bring this up? And it's the power of him doing all these lies. It's not just him avoiding consequences. It's not just keeping you stuck. It's keeping you tied to confusion, that you no longer know which way is up down, right, left, right, wrong. And the longer you stay, the more tangled up you become. Until eventually you get to the place you stop asking questions altogether. You're just silent. You pull back. You stop confronting him. You stop trusting yourself. You stop believing that you deserve honesty at all. Because every time you stand up for yourself, he knocks you back down. Every time you get to the place where you're fighting for the truth, he twists it and manipulates it until you're apologizing for even asking. And then the pain becomes even more and more familiar. The lies, they just become the norm that you see. And you start accepting the unacceptable. Just surviving. Not living, not healing, but just surviving. So let me ask you this. How much longer can you survive like this? How much more of yourself are you willing to lose just to hold on to a man who has no problem looking you straight dead in the eyes and lying to you without even flinching? Because make no mistake, he knows exactly what he's doing, which is why he keeps doing it over and over. Because every lie he has is a test. It's a way to see how much are you going to tolerate. A way to see how far he can push you before you actually break. And the more you forgive, the more he lies. The more it happens over and over. Not because he has to, not because the truth isn't easier, because it is, but because each lie is another piece of control that he has over you. Each lie is another brick in the wall that he's building around you, keeping you isolated from friends, from family, keeping you confused, keeping you dependent on him for clarity. And the only way out is to stop playing his game. Is to stop asking him to tell the truth. Is to stop trying to find the truth. Stop begging him to see what he's doing to you because he doesn't and he doesn't care and he doesn't want to. Stop waiting for him to finally admit it. That's not where you find closure because he's never going to admit it. He's never going to acknowledge it because the lie isn't a mistake. It's the foundation of the entire relationship. It's all been built on a lie. He's been selling you lies from the very beginning. You think you're asking for honesty, but what you're really asking for is respect. What you're really asking for is love, and he hasn't been giving those at all. What you're really asking for is a man who sees you as an equal, who values you enough to be truthful and honest to you. But he doesn't. And he hasn't been showing up that way. He just sees you as another thing to control. He sees you as an appliance in your life, someone to keep on edge, a pawn to be able to move forward and back however he wants. And as long as you keep giving him the benefit of the doubt, as long as you keep yourself in this cycle, believing that maybe next time it'll be different, maybe he'll figure it out. And as long as you keep waiting for the truth, he's going to keep lying. Because the lie is what keeps you stuck. The confusion, the cognitive dissonance of what to believe, what not to believe. It's what keeps you questioning yourself at night, up at night, wondering what is actually real. The lie that keeps you chasing him, desperate for validation, for clarity, desperate to make the confusion stop. The reality is it's not going to stop. He's not going to stop it. It's not going to stop until you make a choice to stop it. Not until you decide that you are done living in a world where dishonesty is normal in your life. Not until you decide that you are done sacrificing your sanity just to keep a man who is never going to be honest to you in the first place. And I know that leaving feels impossible right now. Because what happens if you do? Where do you go from here? What happens if you actually walk away and never get the answers that you feel like you have to have? Never get the answers you've been begging him for? What happens if he never admits what he did? What happens if you never get closure? What happens if you never find that for your life? I'm going to tell you what happens. You finally stop waiting for him to give you something that he was never going to give you to start off with. You finally stop waiting for him to validate the closure that you already have. You finally stop giving him permission to manipulate you. You finally start to take back your power and understand that closure doesn't come from him. Closure actually comes from you seeing and acknowledging the stuff that you've already gone through. It's something that you give yourself the moment you decide you've had enough, the moment you realize and look at what are the facts, the honesty, the respect, the love, none of that should have required you to fight so hard just to feel validated. And if you don't know where to start inside of this, if you don't know how to untangle the lies and the confusion, if you don't even trust your own reality anymore, I can help you. Inside of my Thriver community, I work with women just like you that are struggling, trying to be able to figure out how to be able to build themselves back up. They spent years trapped in confusion, questioning themselves, waiting for a man who is never going to change and never going to be honest. Women who thought they'd never be able to rebuild after years of being lied to, gaslit, and broken down. And now, they're thriving. They're at a new place in life because they finally saw the truth, not from him, but because they saw it for themselves. And they chose to do something about it. So if you're at the place where you're ready to stop questioning yourself, if you're ready to stop living in the fog that he's put you in, if you're ready to stop everything that's happening now and actually make a move to start healing, then I want you to go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. Don't waste another second waiting for a man who is only ever going to lie to you over and over and over. It's time to reclaim your life. It's time to heal. And it starts with one choice. Click on the link below to book your call, and let's do this together. You've been told it's all your fault, and that makes you feel crazy. No one understands you, and that leaves you in a place of being alone. You've tried to break free multiple times, and that leaves you helpless because nothing you've done has actually worked. It hasn't actually got you free or liberated from this toxic relationship. So you feel crazy, alone, and hopeless. Guess what? That's a lie. Because all it is how you've been raised and conditioned inside of this abusive relationship over and over. And as a result, you've sacrificed your growth, you've sacrificed your worth, and you've been trapped inside of a toxic relationship. What if I showed you the path to freedom? A way for you to actually get free mentally and emotionally from the toxicity that's happening right here, right now. You deserve more. You deserve to be able to heal. And I want to help you with that. If I can help you with that, go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. Schedule a call there and let's talk. Have you ever felt like something was off, but you just couldn't quite put your finger on it? Like every time you asked him a direct question, he just danced around the answer. Maybe you're running a business, maybe you're making big decisions, maybe you're balancing a team, and all at the same time, the one place where you should feel safe, at home, in your marriage, you feel like a fool. You sense something is happening behind your back, but every time you bring it up, he flips it on you. He makes you feel like you're the crazy one. And so you go back to pouring everything into your business or into others because at least there you feel like there's some sense of control. But in all reality, he's been playing you all along. And that's the reason why you're confused. And what you don't realize is that it's all the same. It's the manipulation that keeps you stuck in the relationship and that keeps you bleeding every single where in all of your lives. Keeps bleeding into your leadership, keeps bleeding into your parenting, keeps bleeding into how you show up to every single person. Today I'm going to break down exactly how narcissists hide their affairs, manipulate your reality, and keep you trapped in the relationship. But not just in your relationship, in your entire life.